Okay, good afternoon again, and thank you all for joining us for the last MSP-Ignite Resource Network webinar of the year. As always, we're excited to be bringing the series to our members and invited guests. All of the presenters throughout the year have really made a commitment to you, our membership and our invited guests, to help give you actionable items that can help you grow or otherwise impact your bottom line in a positive way. Before I introduce our speaker, just let me go over a couple of logistics and ground rules. We are always asked throughout these sessions, and yes, we do record the sessions. We'll send you an email after the webinar with a copy of the slides and a link to the MSP-Ignite YouTube channel, where you'll be able to watch this presentation as well as any of the others throughout that we've recorded throughout the years. You will all remain muted during the presentation. However, we do want interaction. Please look at the bottom of the screen. You should have a Q&A button. Ask questions along the way. I'll answer, I'll interrupt our speaker, and we'll both answer, and we'll try and make this as interactive as possible. Our keynote for today's session is Margie Moore from Big Orange Marketing. As CEO of Big Orange Marketing and best-selling Amazon author of Marketing Fusion, Margie specializes in helping companies with complete strategic marketing plans and content marketing strategies. Her recent accomplishments include helping companies win millions of dollars in revenue, including builders, developers, IT service firms, and manufacturing organizations. In addition, her 15-plus year marketing background includes ad agency and consulting experience for clients such as Abbott, Procter & Gamble, Everyday Solutions, Invacare. In her spare time, Margie likes to read, jog, play ultimate frisbee. That one surprised me, Margie. And spend time with her family in Cincinnati. Margie founded Big Orange Marketing to help businesses of all sizes prosper and is on a mission to provide meaningful work and ownership opportunities to people who need flexibility in their lives. Before I turn things over to Margie, I'd like to take a couple of minutes as the sponsor. MSP-Ignite is indeed the sponsor for this session. Over the last year plus, Ashley LaLumiere and I have been on a quest, really, to fill a void that we've identified in the channel. While there are several outsourced business development offerings in the channel, they all seem to miss one important facet of sales, especially when focused on selling long-term service relationships like we do in this industry. While all salespeople have been trained since the beginning of time to try and build rapport, it takes time to build trust. The focus of our coaching, called Into the Light, is to help our members understand how to start building trust from the early stages of the sales process in order to improve their sales efficiencies. We've worked with Margie for a little while now to help position her marketing efforts so that they support this sales focus. Margie, why don't you go ahead and take it away?
Great. Thank you very much. I appreciate being here today. I'm excited to hopefully provide some value to everyone here. We've been members of MSP-Ignite for a while. Met a few of you at Vegas this August. So I'm excited to provide value. That is my goal here. Please do chime in, Steve, as often as you find things to comment on. Other people, however, you chose to chime in as well. I would love for this to be interactive. All right. So what I'm going to cover today is marketing fundamentals that you need to have in place. They are presented to you in the order of importance, and from 1 to 21 today. So some of the things, if you can only do a few things, start at the beginning and put these things into place. So fundamental number 1, everything you do in marketing, you should start with the ideal customer in mind. Think about in your mind, who is your ideal customer? What is their job titles? What is their age? What is their industry? Things like that. Like picture your ideal target in your mind. Again, then we do customer interviews and we create a tool we call personas. So I'm sharing with you part of one called Business Owner Barry that we talk about a lot. He's the founder of a construction company or perhaps a professional service company, and maybe he founded this company 20 years ago. He reports to a board of advisors, and he's the decision maker. His goal is to help his company grow and also to be a force for good in his community while making money. he set out to make a difference and to do things right. Some of his pain points are staying profitable, hiring good people. He wants to, create products, reduce cost, and he also wants for people to have faith in his leadership. And part of his leadership means making every decision he makes a good decision. So one of the things he cares about is, did he make a good choice when he chose a managed service provider? So that's one of the things that you can think about when you're thinking about who you're selling to here. So you can see what's my tech stack, or what is happening with my cloud migrations and things like that are not really on his goal list. He cares about the higher level things. So we have to keep in mind that we are often talking to a person who cares more about the business and how you help run the business with technology than technology itself. So I have a quick question, and I hope, Steve, you can help me see who's answering it, make sure I'm doing this right. But how many of you thought of a particular person that is one of your current customers when I said ideal customers, who's kind of similar to Business Owner Barry? Maybe hand raises. Can you see that, Steve? Oh, good. I see like 4 people raising hands. Wonderful. 5. Okay, great. Very cool. 6. Okay, great. Thank you, guys. Yeah, so that is definitely a person who all of us are selling to, me included, as well as a marketing firm. Okay, so now we know who we're talking to. The very first, most important thing is to have a quality website. It needs to be a quality website from a purpose of helping you look credible, being very professional, and helping to help them understand why to choose you. What is your authority points? Some people call that your unique selling proposition. So not only does it have to look good and be professional and have clear messaging on the page, it also needs to be good as well. It has to be speedy and fast, because that's very important for 2024 to help Google see your site well. You need to make sure it is ranking. Right, I'm going to go forward now. Okay, great. So fundamental number 3 is start with your customer being the hero of the story and you being the guide in the story. Everybody cares about themselves. They don't really care that you maybe founded the company with your grandfather 20 years ago. They care about their problems and how you solve their problems. There's just, the fun fact is there are just tons of people out there who waste a lot of money on marketing that doesn't sell. And part of that is talking too much about yourself and not enough about how you understand their pain points and you understand their goals and how you are going to help them achieve their goals. So one of the ways that you can measure is your messaging clear, is your story clear on your website, is bounce rate. So when people come to your site, are they bouncing away quickly? Just like golf, the lower you get your bounce score, the better. So keep that in mind. Another way to measure are people converting on your website is conversion rates. The total number of visitors versus the number of leads is how you measure that, and that should try to be at least 1%. Yeah, Steve, great. Please chime in. What would you like to share, or how do I do this?
As you were talking about what people are concerned with and the website talking too much about us as the company is selling, I was thinking about the sales process and the same factor. How many of us get onto a sales call and the prospect says, well, tell me a little about yourself. And then we just go for 1, 2, 3, 10, 12, 15 minutes, right? And keep talking. And I always say in sales, what we want to do is quickly turn it back to them because they really don't care about our background or our history. They're asking to be polite. They're asking because they're not sure where to go with the conversation. We certainly should answer it and say something, but keep it to 30, 45 seconds and then ask them a little bit about their story, because they'll talk more about their story and they will feel better about the conversation if they are the ones talking about what they care about.
Excellent, excellent. Very, very good, helpful add. I totally agree. A quick tip to build on this, if you've listened to me talk before, and if you're planning your 2024 leadership for the year ahead, consider having your whole team read Building a Story Brand. Highly recommend it, still highly recommend it in 2024. It's probably like a 7-year-old book now, but just timeless, and so true. So I do recommend that book. Okay, fundamental number 4. You've got great messaging on your website. Your website is professional and it's speedy. You can't just set your website and forget it. Google is going to reward your site for having fresh, relevant content that is using the keywords of what you're selling: IT support, IT services, cloud migrations, Microsoft Office 365. Constantly be stacking up content in that. Your sales team also needs relevant stuff to share. So, Steve, this is probably, you can tell us more about this as well, but like every time you reach out to someone, if you're the sales lead, which I am as well, you don't want to just be asking, hey, do you want to follow up? You want to be sharing something. Like today, I had a recent case study on our website. And so that was a great thing for me to share. Hey, I was just checking in, but I thought of you when I saw this new case study we posted. It's about a company that had some of the same challenges you had. You might enjoy it as well. So content gives your sales team things to share. So it's kind of a double punch, that content. Steve, did you have any thoughts on that?
A little bit. Yeah, I think in terms of social media more than I do the website, right? So it's a little bit different. And I always say we should be posting things that we think will be relevant to our audience that are not self-serving for us. That's how we actually build some trust in who we are. Know your community, know what's going on in your community, and share things about community events, especially for the nonprofit community in your area. And all of that will drive interest in you and ultimately interest back into your website.
Perfecto. And it kind of leads into one of my tips, which is probably tip 6 or 7. I'll cover that too. So you've got that fundamental in place where you're stacking up more content on your website, more blogs, more pages. By the way, I meant both. Now you need to add in some sort of a lead magnet. They're also called sales funnels, ebooks, guides, some sort of a juicy offer that people will give up their email address to get. So you're building that email list. They can be things like an infographic, a checklist, an ebook, a video, things like that. You build a landing page, you build the juicy piece of content. Here's some ideas of topics of what I'm talking about, like 15 simple ways to avoid cybercrime at work, or cybersecurity tips that everybody in the company can do and should do today, a checklist on how to respond to a ransomware attack, an ebook on, doing an office move and making IT work, a cheat sheet on phishing prevention. So these types of things, like a cheat sheet is a one-pager. Some of these other ones are more like multi-page guides. These are the types of things that you want to build as lead magnets or sales funnels. Okay, fundamental number 6, you've got those things in place. Now you need to make sure you are claiming and leveraging your Google My Business. This visual in the upper right corner is what I'm talking about. You guys are all very tech savvy, so you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, the first step is claiming this, then making sure your name, address, and phone number are completely correct and match your website. And you also need to be filling out everything that Google lets you fill out. There's external photos, internal photos, team photos, there's services, there's products. These things are searchable. So you need to fill out, even if you don't sell products and you really are selling services, you need to fill these things out and just maximize whatever you can put up there. If you're doing something that Google doesn't want you to do, they will clean it up for you. And you need to choose your category well. Like, check out which of the categories some of your best competitors have chosen in Google My Business, and make sure you choose the best one for positioning yourself as well. So step 1, claim it, and then fill out as much as you can. Okay, fundamental number 7, bring on the photos. So photo shoots are really inexpensive. There are resources like Snapper and Thumbtack where you can schedule a photo shoot for about $350 for an hour photo shoot at your office. You could think about scheduling it around a day when you're going to have everyone at your office for a luncheon. Get people to move around together into like stage a conference, stage the team together, stage people at the front entrance, things like that. And then you also have these assets to use in social media. So do a video shoot. And if you've done one in the last 2 years, maybe it's time to do one again. They're very affordable. We highly recommend them. Any questions so far?
Nothing posted yet, Margie. I'm watching for it.
Thank you so much. Okay, so then another tip on Google My Business. Google My Business also has this thing called posts. It was originally built for like a pet shop, and we're doing a puppy washing special. So it's built for retail businesses, but everybody can fill it out, and Google wants you to fill it out. So using that post as well and filling those out once a week, every week. They only stay up for they don't stay up, but they age off, and you can put a new one up every week. So Google wants us to do it, so we do recommend doing that to help your website, help you be found, and help you rank. All right, fundamental number 9. Most of you are probably gathering customer satisfaction and reviews with CSAT processes. Hopefully, you're also gathering those on Google, and make sure you're getting those Google reviews. So when you're getting these Google reviews, think about making sure they're on your homepage of your website in some way. You know, quick, short versions of them, like 1 to 2 sentences, is about what people can read on your website. Images that look like real people and not stock. And then, maybe mask company names if you're worried about, cybersecurity, or mask first and last names if you're worried about that. But, try to use these real testimonials. Definitely on your website is what I'm recommending here. But your testimonials and great feedback you get are also a great thing to be sharing in your social media. Oh, good. Video production companies, Steve. I'll have to get back to you on that. I'll have to follow up in another email for something good and consistent.
That's fine. I can share it with the members.
Thank you so much. Okay, so then we've got a sales funnel that's bringing us in some leads. We've got a great website, which hopefully we have a newsletter subscription on as well. So we're getting emails through contact us form. So you guys probably are already well versed in this, but you need a good CRM system like a HubSpot or like a Glass Hive. It's a place where you're going to input all your information on your leads. You're going to be marking your conversation. You're going to be tracking your conversations with them. You're going to be continuing to move them through your sales funnel and continue to work those leads. So you need a good CRM system. Okay, fundamental number 11. We've got all of those other things in place. It's time to turn on some marketing automation. So, maybe we all thought we were going to have like George Jetson's flying cars by this time, but we don't have that. But you know what? Marketing automation is just as exciting and just as good. So marketing automation is a way to take those leads that you are getting in and making sure you are scheduling and pre-scheduling follow-ups with them from the time that they maybe booked a meeting with you to make sure they get to that meeting with you by maybe following up with them automatically every day. What we're recommending for a lot of the MSPs we work with is somehow a lot of MSPs have this tendency to like create a proposal, put that proposal out there to the prospect, and then say, okay, well, they'll buy it if they're interested in it. And that is not the best practice. So, true story, I needed a fence because my neighbor had decided to park his jet ski in his backyard, which pretty much was my front yard. So I knew I needed a fence. I got a price on a fence. It was very expensive. But you know what? I knew that the price was only going up and I knew I needed it. If that guy had reached back out to me one more time, I would have totally said, yes, 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 take my money. here's my card. You're saving me time. Thank you. Thank you for getting back to me. I knew I needed that fence. I just didn't get around to like finishing this conversation. So, true story. If somebody doesn't want you to keep reaching out to them, they'll tell you or they'll unsubscribe. So do yourself a favor. One of the things for 2024 we're telling people is automate a hot opportunity follow up. So once you've put a proposal, out to someone, make sure you're automating a way to keep following up with them, but not just think about doing that through emails and phone calls. And text messages. Think about doing that through some offline things as well, like sending them a book that you were talking about and recommended, sending them, if you wrote a paper or a case study, sending them something like that, sending them some things offline to keep you top of mind as well. Okay, fundamental number 12. This is the one Steve was already at. Definitely participate in social media conversations. It's important that we're active and fish where the fish are. So, Facebook, Twitter, X, Instagram, LinkedIn are probably all important for us. How popular we are on these platforms helps drive the popularity of our website in Google's eyes as well. So you want to be sharing a regular cadence of blog posts, photos, video clips. Hot tip for 2024, the algorithms for LinkedIn in particular, we'll talk about, favor content that keeps you on the platform. So think about those content pieces you wrote in your blog. Consider shorter versions of them shared fully in a social media post about with like the tips right in it. Maybe use a lot of emojis, sort of long form content in LinkedIn. Also consider like a visual, like 1, 2, 3 tips for turning multi-factor on today. Things like that, putting it all in and all available on LinkedIn in the post itself. And then 20% of the time, maybe linking back to your website. And then hot tip, exactly building on what Steve was saying, is for 2024, we're thinking about social media in 3 distinct buckets. Bucket number 1 is I'm a resource and sharing, your knowledge, put it all out there, educate people, short, easy to read ways. I'm a resource tip. Bucket number 2 is lifting others up. Think about employee spotlights. Think about customer spotlights. And then bucket number 3 is exactly what Steve was saying, is community. You belong to like a chamber, share the chamber's event. Maybe there's like a fun corn maze event coming up or a fun holiday event coming up. Share that kind of stuff. So people know you're trying to sell to your community where you live. Be sharing that stuff, and those nonprofits or that, Cincinnati Chamber, they'll appreciate you sharing it as well. So be sharing that community stuff. Is there a question, Steve?
No, that was actually answering someone else's
Okay.
question for. I'll
Okay.
chime in here for a minute since I'm in. I love that you went to be involved in a conversation there at the end. To me, we tend to lose sight that we're in the people business, that we're selling to people, that we need to communicate to people, not at people. And that's where that conversation piece comes in.
Yep. Resharing your partner's post, resharing your client's post, resharing, things in our industry, like resharing, the latest from IT Nation and things like that. So part of the community. All right, fundamental number 13, very, very, very important in 2024, is those quality link backs to your site. So more important than ever is we need to be building links. We need to be building links consistently. Google Search Console is a way for you to see the links and what's driving traffic back to your website. But my next slide is giving you some good tactical ideas that you can do. And maybe plan out one of these per quarter, maybe but try to get all these in. But if you belong to a chamber in your community, if you belong to maybe a CPA society, you're trying to sell to CPAs, maybe you belong to a law society, trying to sell to law firms. These things that you belong to and that you're members in, you probably have a membership listing that you can fill out fully. See if there is opportunities in those listings to link back to your website, maybe in the description. Is there a place for the website URL? Be filling out as much of that as possible. Also, be sure to fill out every directory listing service that you can get free information filled out in. Like I'm talking about clutch.co in our space, very important for MSPs. Cloud Tango. There's a lot you can do for free, and I'm recommending do the free stuff first. Like make sure you've leveraged all the free links. Expertise.com. There's another one like Best of or Best 10. All of these free things first before you go into paid listings in any of this stuff. Tip number 2 here, think about partners that you are with. Maybe your peer organizations have a thing where you link to each other and you build a page that's, partnership page, and you cross link across all of your different peer groups, peer partners. Charities you support. Could you give them an article on, cybersecurity scams to avoid with charitable giving at the holidays, something like that? Could you give them a piece of content with a couple links back to your website as well? Could you do something like that? Or if you support this charity in some way, could they recognize you and link to your website from one of their pages? Every time you're speaking at an event, be sure to have ready to go an About Us section about your company that includes some links to your website and a bio about yourself that links to pages on your website. Have those things always ready to go whenever you have a speaking engagement, and make sure you give that as a kit to the people you're speaking with so they can link back to your website. Then think about, are you a sponsor of like a golf tournament or anything, or are you exhibiting at a conference? Make sure you ask them to, post something to link back to you. Consider giving it to them in a blog post, so maybe it has a longer life than partners of this particular golf tournament page. Okay, fundamental number 14. I pack a lot of punch in this fundamental. You need to keep your eye on your competitors. What are they doing from a messaging standpoint? What are they doing from a keyword standpoint? And you also have to be always paying attention to your SEO keywords that you are writing on your site, that you're adding to with more blog content. You kind of want to always be working an SEO strategy. You can use these anonymous search engines like DuckDuckGo to see where you rank. So go to something like DuckDuckGo and then search on Seattle IT services or Seattle IT support or cybersecurity companies near Seattle, and then see where you're ranking. If you're like in the 5th or 6th place, that's great. If you're not yet, then all of these fundamental things I've been telling you so far, that's really what you need to do. You need to be doing all of that. And that will help you bring that ranking up. The reason you're looking at your competitors is making sure your messaging is better than theirs. The type of topics you're talking about is better than theirs. Or if they have a really good idea, steal or borrow regularly, they say. So be sure to do that. No, I don't mean literally steal, but I mean, take the good ideas and make them your own. Ooh, I had to clarify that. Okay. So fundamental number 15, user experience. So think about people coming to your website. They're people, they might be like a CEO. They don't know a lot about what they're looking for. Is your navigation confusing? Do you have too many services? Do they have no idea where to look? Navigations, we typically recommend like just 7 to 8, maybe 9 services. Keep it simple because they're just kind of looking to check a box. Like, yes, you have cybersecurity. Yes, you have managed services. And then keep always repeating that clear, compelling call to action. What's the one action you want them to take? You want them to book a meeting, or you want them to contact us, or you want them to request a proposal. Whatever your choice is, you repeat it over and over. And it's your clear, consistent button throughout your website often, because that's what you want them to do. For a great user experience, make sure you aren't using oversized photos or too large videos. Give your website a human face, update those team photos, and don't use too much stock photography. Fundamental number 16. I have 21 total, so we're getting through. I hope this is valuable. 2024, you just need to plan to spend some money on Google Ads or paid social ads. The reality is, the world is very competitive. AI generated content is coming, is there's a lot of it. So you need to be planning that you will have to pay for some Google Ads. It's a long game to grow your business. Paid ads are going to help you get there a little faster, give you some quick hits while you're growing all of these fundamentals. Think about Google ads. LinkedIn ads are usually better for awareness, not so much for leads. Facebook ads can work in our space as well. Think of them as fertilizer that boosts your growth. Okay, so watch outs though. I'm not saying just throw some money out there at Google ads. You can't just set it and forget it. You need to put it out there and monitor it constantly. And if you're trying to do it yourself and maybe it feels out of your scope, do consider using a company like Big Orange Marketing. We're experts in these things as well. Once you have Google Ads in place, you can do a thing called retargeting. So that's like when you go to Zappos and you see a pair of shoes, you really want them, you put them in your cart, and then you surf away and you know how those shoes follow you around to the next site you go to. That's retargeting. So once you've put Google Ads into place and you've been running them for a certain amount of time, you can add on retargeting too. So an example of how you would do retargeting would be like once someone leaves your site, sending them back with like a humorous or a juicy offer, like get a free assessment or schedule a half hour with a free consultation, some sort of juicy offer, maybe funny, that will bring them back to your website. And you can choose what pages they visited that you're going to follow them back from. Steve, is your question about the Google Ads reports?
Yeah, it came up before that. Yes.
Okay. Great. Keyword reports? Yes. If you're using a tool like a HubSpot, some of your keywords can be there. We use a tool for SEO keywords and reporting. We use a tool called Moz, which we set up our clients' keywords that they're going for, and we track their progress on those keywords. Moz can send you those reports daily, weekly, whatever you want. A SpyFu, SPYFU.com is a very affordable tool, like only about 200 to 300 per year. And that's another great place that you can set up automated reports and it can track your progress every week as well. Does that answer that question?
I think it does. And yes, I think depending on who you're working with, almost everybody has the automated tools, right, to share those reports. He said yes, it was helpful. While I'm on, if you go back to the stalking part that you had for the shopping and leaving things in the cart, I find that's where sales efforts also come into play here. When we talk about stalking, and really, I'll go to social media when I talk about it. I prefer to say flirting rather than stalking, and I don't mean in the connotation most people think, but we need to give people a chance to get to know who we are, and people don't get to know who we are by us telling them. They have to experience it on their time frame, if you will. And that's why we try and connect with people on social media and not be the ones that the minute someone says, yes, I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn, send them a request to get together and talk about your company, right? You don't go that route. Simply connect with people that are on your target list in the vertical markets that you're going after. Work in any industry that you're going after, even if they don't look like a decision maker, so that you can start to build relationships and go from there.
Excellent. Okay, fundamental number 18. Really, this fundamental is measure, measure, measure. There are many things you can measure. If you don't have a HubSpot, a Google Analytics, like be in your Google Analytics, you can set things like goals. So your goals might be time on site. Like I would, goal is like 2 minutes on my managed, on my MSP marketing page. That's a goal. Whenever someone achieves that, assign that a goal value, like it has a value to me. So you can put monetary amounts on these types of goals, but do be setting these goals in Google Analytics or a HubSpot, and think of the things that are most important for you to track. Like another big goal is like conversions. Like I want so many people to fill out forms. That's a conversion that has a huge value. So be setting up all these goals of the things that you want people to do in your website, and then track them when they do those. We here, when we're working with clients, we set up regular KPI meetings to review those tracking analytics like once a month. So if you're doing DIYing it and you're doing it yourself, maybe schedule like once a month where you are stopping to look at your tracking as well. Definitely, you want to look at your tracking at least once a month to make sure you're reconfiguring your strategy. Okay, making news is fundamental number 19. So you may think, oh, I don't have any news or anything newsworthy, but I got 2 tips here. So there's this tool called Help a Reporter Out. It's where the reporters, all the reporters, when they have questions and they need first-hand sources, they put out their questions. And if you answer very rapidly, you can get placement in some really top publications. It's a lot easier than trying to do outreach and try to get placement in some of these top publications. Sometimes they will be follow links, sometimes they will not. But regardless, you gotta, if you got a Reader's Digest mention, that's pretty exciting. Then press releases. Press releases are something that it might not be huge news that you think would get picked up by like the Business Courier, but it could just be news that you bundle up, you write up a press release, and you push it out through a PR newswire type of service. It gets picked up by a certain number of things, and that's usually some good link backs to your website. So do consider a plan for 2024, maybe set a goal of doing 2 press releases and try to make that happen. All right, this is a great tip for Steve here. Webinars are hot. Webinars offer multiple customer touch opportunities. So if you're doing a webinar with a co-sponsor, like with a team like MSP-Ignite, the touches are, register for the webinar. Here's the webinar link. Okay, the webinar starts next week. The webinar is in 1 hour. Oh, here's our follow-up from the webinar. Here's the deck, etc. So you just heard me rattle off multiple customer opportunities. And then I have to tell you, Steve, this was awesome. So I went to IT Nation last week, and then, following your guidance about being helpful and giving in sales, I realized that everyone who I was trying to reach out to from IT Nation, I could share with them your webinar, and please, join me on this webinar. I'm going to be sharing some information. And, one of the gals I met at the show, like followed up and said, hey, you mentioned a webinar, when was it? When is it? And so I was able to share this with her and give an opportunity to participate in something educational rather than trying to promote our services. So this has been a very, very timely and wonderful to be able to be here with you guys. All right, one more tip. All right, so partner up. So this is a tip 21 on purpose. So this is once you've got a lot of fundamentals in place. It's kind of like a secret tip. But so how like the Business Courier in your area has daily newsletters or weekly newsletters, which they have a huge audience of business people who get them because they want to stay up to date on what's the crane watch, what's the latest buildings that are being building, who bought who, that kind of thing. So a lot of people get these and read them. You can purchase single subject emails from these types of publications or like a business magazine in your area. And you're getting a dedicated business audience that opens these things. So when you do these, though, you don't want to be sharing, hey, we're the greatest MSP. You want to be sharing something of value. So something we've been thinking about is like AI is everywhere. Companies, business owners, administrators, people are very nervous about how people are going to be using AI. So maybe a lot of companies need an AI policy. So maybe your email could be about, hey, here's our juicy DIY AI policy tool where you just update all of these things with your own information and boom, you've got an AI policy. Oh, and by the way, we have a webinar coming up on AI best practices for for all companies or something like that. So think about these. These are really juicy. These are not inexpensive. But once you have a lot of these fundamentals in place, these are great for outreach. They're almost like pay per lead, if you will. Okay, so this is also on our website in a downloadable version if you want. Um, you know, if you are looking to do any of this stuff yourself, I hope this has been helpful to you. If you lack bandwidth or don't really want to do it yourself, this is what we do every day, all of these fundamentals. And that's our QR code if you want to visit our MSP marketing page and schedule a meeting. Happy to, meet with anyone. Also happy to look over where you are in all these fundamentals and do an assessment for you. Or other thought I just had today is if you're trying to convince your team that you want to do marketing, I'm happy to do this exact talk or some other talks on different topics like social media, etc. For lunch and learns. I'm happy to join your teams and do these talks again. So anyway, any questions I could help with?
So, Margie, I held off on this question when it came in because I think we could probably do a whole hour on just this question. But Andre Sheeran asked this question, and Andre, if you just saw, I just asked you where you're located, but he's asking about the average monthly spend for AdWords and how successful it can be based on what we're selling for managed services. As you know, we both have a colleague that preaches SEO a lot on this too. So I don't know where you want to go with this one. I don't think there is an average spend. And he's in Houston.
Houston. Yeah, so I think I'm saying both, by the way, too. You need to do SEO. You need to have a lot of pages and that are optimized for search for all the things we're selling, and you need to have a keyword plan that you are always thinking about and always chipping away at. So keep doing that SEO. Google Ads will help get you there, though, and you're going to need to do them. So Houston's huge. And you got a lot of big competitors. Like I know Team Logic is there and a lot of the big ones with multiple locations. So you need to plan at least like, I want to say $2,000 per month to really get traction. You need to let it run for, 2 to 3 months to learn as well. So you'll be very frustrated for 2 to 3 months. But big areas like that, I do think you need to plan to spend. And then if you're only planning on like 1,000, consider ratcheting it down to like a smaller area. You definitely can't cover large areas without like huge budgets.
Well, and I would also try and ratchet it down into specific verticals that maybe everyone isn't going after, right? And try and focus that way. I do believe and we have a marketing person on, right? We've invited a marketing person to speak to you guys, and marketing is important. No two ways about it. There's also your sales activities that have to go into this, because if you're going after Google AdWords, and especially now with all the consolidation in our industry, if you're doing the same thing that a national MSP is doing in your area, you are probably not going to have the dollars to compete. So you've got to really, first of all, bring in an expert, bring in somebody that knows the tricks of the trade, like Margie, but really focus on how can I target something that the rest of the world is not targeting. That to me is the key at this point in time.
Yeah, that's a really good, like healthcare, IT support, IT support for CPAs, ratchet it down. And then you want to have a industry specific landing page that you drive them to, that they can see case studies like them. They can see those keywords around like healthcare, IT, or IT support for certified public accountants. And then another thing, based on the industries you're mentioning, we've been trying to position for people to think about the world in quarters. Like, think about quarter one, I'm going to focus on CPAs. I'm going to join a CPA society in my area. I'm going to put together a talk that I'm going to submit to their upcoming sessions. Maybe they're not in that quarter, but I'm going to focus on this quarter. And then what's a download? I can create a juicy sales funnel related to IT support for CPAs, or compliance risks that you don't know about in 2024. Think about the world in quarters and don't try to boil the ocean.
That's great. Any other questions, folks? Post them up if you'd like. Margie, great job as always. I don't see anything else coming in. I don't have anything else. Margie, do you have anything else you'd like to touch on?
Thanks for having me here. I'm happy to, be with all of you again. I love this group. I love all the sales training I'm getting verbatim, through you by osmosis, Steve. And looking forward to seeing people again when we get together again in person.
Sounds good. Well, thank you all for your time today. We hope the information you received was actionable and helpful. There were 21 points there. They better be some actionable ones in there for you. For those not already participating in one of our peer groups, or if you have interest in our sales coaching into the light, please reach out to us so we can discuss the value along with our money back guarantee. Margie, thank you as always. Have a great holiday, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Steve.
Take care, everyone.